conversation, just not from here. But I've been involved in it as a Republican from almost the time I got here in the U.S. Senate. And my interest in climate goes way, way back further than that. So never seen anything where there could be two more disparate views. And you heard it, I think, eloquently from Chairman and Ranking Member Grassley earlier. The question is, how do you sort through all of this? What is the truth? This is the Budget Committee. I'm going to weave it back into that discussion here in a moment. But the fact is, for as long as we've been talking about it, whatever modeling has been out there has probably not been that good because it's not, I think, created enough urgency for many that dismiss the idea as even being out there worth discussing. And on the other side, I don't think it's given enough certainty to where you do what we've done so far, which is give so much advantage to our geopolitical competitors that are the gross emitters that are there growing their economies, building coal-fired plants nearly weekly in places like China and India. So how do you sort it all out? Well, I think then you got to come back and take what has been kind of weak information, modeling that if it was that good, the case would be made, and how do you survive into the future to do something about it? Then let's look at what else is in play. This comes back to budget. We're currently running $2 trillion deficits. And I think if the other side of the aisle had its way, it would even be deeper than that because there would have been more legislation based upon borrowing money on something that's a little amorphous in general. Let's look at the other side. Started the Climate Caucus here with Chris Coons back in July, I think, of 19, and there's clear consensus, I think, across the economic community here in this country that something is afoot. When I talk to the main stakeholders, even in places like Exxon, Chevron, they say there's an issue. They also tell me they have no idea how they're going to get beyond the low-hanging fruit. In other words, past the things they have committed to do 2030 to 2035. And the consensus I hear mostly is that it's going to take some technological breakthrough that we haven't even found yet. A lot is working there as well. So do you absolutely plow forward to where it's the concept of present value? Present value in finance means the variables you know about are what is happening closer to the present. In other words, if you're investing so much currently, you don't know how it's going to turn out until you get the uncertain cash flow that occurs down the road. I think that's where we're at. I know as one who got texts when you got involved in climate, have you gone to the dark side? Don't think so. I think we ought to be in the conversation. And I get that politically from young Republicans, young conservatives, faith-based communities, from evangelicals to Catholics. And then you throw farmers in there who are conservative politically by nature, who know something is afoot. I'm still involved in that, and I'd have to agree with them. But it gets back to my original point. A lot of this is amorphous information that has not been modeled well. Then let's come back to the financial point. We are consistently going broke as a country because we're projected to be $51 trillion in debt in just 10 years. That is close enough to where that's a key figure you can stick into the present value analysis. That's not good. How do you deal with things out of your control where you've got the two biggest emitters in the future that seem to be giving it lip service only? And in business, in anything else, you've got to mix the short-run survivability with your long-term goals. We should have never gotten rid of our energy independence like we did, because I think that's caused political problems across the spectrum, especially on the other side of the aisle. Budget deficits that look like they're going to get worse rather than get better. What do with it? Where do we go from here? We obviously don't want to add further to the present value of pain financially. We need to revive whatever it's going to take to have reliable base load production on the electric side. We're going to need to, transportation is going to have to be looked at. It would overtax the grid in a way that we couldn't do it, but we still need to navigate towards something that's affordable. I put this out there now as a statement. I'll have a few questions if you're going to do a second round. I want to respect that. But I'm saying that the most important thing is we've got to survive into the mid and long term financially, and we currently don't look like we're doing it in the way we run the federal government in general, whether it's on health care, whether it's on climate, whether it's on anything else we do. I'll yield back, and if there is time for further questions, I'll have a few.
I'd be delighted to make time for further questions and to have a second round. Senator Kaine will lead off.